Facebook and follow Garrett Bush. I need about 200 people tonight. If you watch the replay, go over there and subscribe to his podcast on YouTube and follow him on Twitter, X, Instagram, and Facebook, and all of his social media platforms. All right. We ain't gonna hold you long. I'm just here for an hour and I gotta let him go, but I'm finna go ahead and bring him up, and we finna get ready to talk about Shedeur Sanders. How is Shedeur Sanders really doing at the Cleveland Browns OTAs? All right, here we go. Let's get this thing started. My dog, the one and only G Money. I call you G Money because you're money, baby, because you bring the information that we really want to hear. We ain't got time for no lies. If Shedeur Sanders is out there monkeying it up, I know Garrett Bush would tell me the truth. I know, because I've been following him for the last month and he haven't lied to me yet. And that's what it's all about, being honest when you in media. No matter what kind of media you do, people want the truth. It ain't about who you're rooting for. It ain't about your race. It ain't about who you really team that you really going for. It's about the truth. I got Garrett Bush, y'all. We're going to get right into the show. If you got a comment, save it for the end if you don't mind. All right, Mr. Bush, here we go. Check this out. Tell us, and the people who's tuning in right now, and also the ones going to catch the replay. Tell us, what were the owner, GM, and head coach plan going into this draft that you can know in your own way?
Well, look, first and foremost, I want to say thanks to everybody listening out there, and BWatts, I appreciate you. I've been checking out your stuff as well, and everybody out in the Colorado, nation, the aunties, the grandmas, the people, the extended family. And all I want to say is my goal and my job is, I'm trying to assimilate, everybody into one family, and rooting for the same cause and getting it done. So I want to thank you guys and appreciate you. In terms of your question, what was the owner coming out of this draft with? I think the owner and the Cleveland Browns and the head coach, first and foremost, I was hurt when we didn't get Travis Hunter. When they traded down, my heart was hurt. I was on TV live. I was very opinionated about it. I said, come on now, we just passed on a generational type dude. And my thought process was I wanted to come out of this draft with possibly Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. And at times, in different times during that process, it was a possibility. I'm looking at the draft board. I'm like, oh, they didn't really let us get this off. They trade on Travis Hunter and they take Mason Graham. Now, listen, Mason Graham could be a decent player for you down the road. But in my opinion, I felt like Travis Hunter was the most dynamic player in the draft. And when they traded on him, I didn't know what they were getting for him. So when the trade came out, draft night, the Cleveland Browns got another pick in this year's draft and another first-round pick from the Jaguars next year. So I'm like, man, that's a haul. They got a lot for him, but I got to see what the rest of the draft looked like. I got to see what it looked like because you're going defense. They took the defense. They took defense Mason Graham at number 2, 33. They took Carson Schwarzenegger out of UCLA. Two defensive picks, and I'm looking around at the board like, where's the quarterback? We've been talking about quarterback. I was upset that they didn't take Shedeur at 33 when he was available. Then the crazy slide happens. The slide starts happening. The second round come around, nothing. Third round, nothing. Fourth round, nothing. By the fifth round, by day 3, he's still on the board. I'm hot. I'm sorry. I'm hot because I'm sitting here thinking like, man, y'all about to try to let this man go undrafted? Is that what the plan is? Y'all really trying to let him go undrafted? I was sitting there watching the draft on the third day. The Cleveland Browns took Dillon Gabriel in the third round. And in my mind, I said, oh, man. So they didn't take Dillon Gabriel. So now there is no shot that they're going to take Shedeur Sanders because they already got a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sitting there watching the draft with my mom and my wife and my 2 brothers. We all sitting there hanging out. and we saw a little glitch on the screen. It was a blip, a little something that came across, and it was real fast. If you watched it in the draft, it was the Cleveland Browns, and they had the draft card already with Shedeur Sanders with the Browns background. I said, "Did y'all see that?" My brother said, "I saw that too." I said, "I don't know if that's foreshadowing." A couple seconds later, they said the Cleveland Browns had traded their 2 6-round picks to get up and get 5th. And I said, "Trent, you think they're going to do it?" He said, "They might do it." Man, when they pulled the trigger, I was so happy, man. The Cleveland Browns select Shedeur Sanders, because I'm going to tell you what, the way I believe it went down was, I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was somebody's wife that was up the night before. I don't know if it was somebody came downstairs and was like, "Listen, I don't know if it was the owner, the general manager. It stops now." Shedeur on board. We went out there. We visited Colorado. We went to Colorado. We visited with him. The slide stops right here. We're going to take him tomorrow. And it's like, okay, listen, we'll do it. And however it happened, however it went down, it's a blessing, because I feel like they got one of the best players in the draft, if not the best quarterback in the draft, and you got him in the 5th round, and there's blessings in disguises, because I think at that place, I'm ecstatic to have Shedeur Sanders on the squad, and all he's done so far has been a model citizen doing what he's supposed to do, contrary to a lot of the stuff that we heard before in the pre-draft concepts.
Wow, man, y'all heard it. Y'all got it. Y'all want him? I got him. You got G. Bush, Garrett Bush of 93.2 and the Barbershop Podcast. Follow him over there on Instagram and Twitter if you don't mind, and subscribe to his YouTube channel. But check this out, Mr. Bush. When you look at the quarterback room, they traded a 5th round for Kenny Pickett. He's known as a journeyman quarterback. He done played Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and now it looks like they trying to me, push him out there as the first team quarterback. Whether they trying to give him enough reps to get seen, to get traded, or trying to get that 5th round draft pick back, or what? When you look at Kenny Pickett as a quarterback, where does he fit in your opinion, with the Cleveland Browns?
So the Kenny Pickett, a lot of people have talked about Kenny Pickett and why he was going to be the starting quarterback, right? Why he was going to be the starting guy, and why he had the upper leg, because they reached out to him and signed him and traded for him first. Now, first and foremost, I'll say this. Like I said the whole time, and I've been very clear on it. Look, I'm a former football player. I watch Coach Prime all the time. I've been watching him and Shedeur and Shiloh since they was on Primes, when they weren't even playing sports. They was like 5 and 6 years old, right? I'm watching them whirling around.
Okay. Right?
So I've been watching them a very long time. And Prime always talks about it like this. It's all about competition. So if I'm married to what happened on the field. If you got Kenny Pickett and he out here balling, I have no choice but to say he's balling and he earned the spot. Same with Dylan Gabriel, same with Shedeur Sanders, same with Joe Flacco. But the thing is, I just want you to keep it real. Just be real. Hey, if Kenny Pickett's balling, he's balling. But if Shedeur Sanders is also balling, don't do the little stuff like, oh, it don't count because it's practice. Don't do the little, oh, well, it was that. What? No, he didn't get no first team reps. Don't do the little, oh, well, look, they passed on him this many times. He really can't be the quarter. Stop. That's not what it is, bro. Just go ahead and just keep it a buck and say, listen, if you're going to call balls and strikes, call balls and strikes. So for me, when you watch Kenny Pickett, and you watch Kenny Pickett and you say, well, Shedeur Sanders, and I'm not knocking Kenny Pickett. I'm just giving you the reality. The reality is he played a couple of years in Pittsburgh. He was a former first-round pick. He flamed out in Pittsburgh. He got traded to the Philadelphia Eagles, and he was a backup there. And the Browns reached out and said, hey, what do you think about Kenny Pickett? And they traded a 5th-round pick for him. Those are the facts, right? But why would you consistently keep saying, well, Shedeur Sanders is only a 5th-round pick. He's a 5th-round pick. He can't play. Well, if I'm smart enough to understand this, right? If the Cleveland Browns traded a 5th-round pick for Kenny Pickett, then what is Kenny Pickett's value? A 5th-round pick.
That's it. It's the same.
And I don't know why it's so difficult for people to understand that. And when I say it, it's see that. What are you trying to tell me? I'm like, bro, I'm telling you the truth. It's a 5th round pick. And the Cleveland Browns had Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett was due a 5th round pick bonus. He has a player option when they traded for him.
Right.
That 5th year player option was worth $20-something million. If Kenny Pickett was the prohibited favor moving in, as people had made him, why did the Cleveland Browns decline his the option on this $20 million deal? They would have just said listen, he's that good. Let's keep him at $20 million. That's a bargain for a top flight quarterback at that level. We're gonna keep him for 2 years. You know what they said? No, we're declining that. We're gonna give you $2-point-something million this year. I mean, that tells you that yes, they're taking a flyer on him, but by no means in any way, shape, or form are they saying he's the prohibited future favorite to be the quarterback. That's crazy. That don't make no sense.
No.
And by the way, you look at his game, and at least you can say Joe Flacco. He won the Super Bowl in his prime. So Joe Flacco knows the playbook. He was here a couple of years ago, helped the Browns go to the playoffs, but he's 40-something years old. He still has a good arm. But at least you can look at Joe Flacco and say, okay, well, he got a leg up because he knows some of those things. He's been in the system. Well, even with Kenny Pickett, his touchdown to interception rate is 15-14. It's not as if it's not like he's efficient with the football. He's won no awards. Like, so for me, when I question people all the time, and look, on my channel, I don't cut people. When I used to do radio shows, see now in the radio, they don't take no phone calls because they don't want to hear nobody but themselves. They don't want no pushback in real time. For me, I take the most calls because I want to hear what you got to say. I tell people all the time, don't even, if you like the way I talk, don't even listen to me 100% of the time. Formulate your own opinion. You watch the film, you watch the games, formulate your own opinion, and come up with your stuff supporting your details, man. Don't be listening to me 100% of the time. That's laziness. Don't listen to nobody 100% of the time because we don't all got it right. Last year, I thought Deshaun Watson was going to be pretty good. Turned out to be not so good. But at the end of the day, don't be taking what nobody is saying for face value. Look at it, and I think a lot of people is upset because what we've used to be doing, what we're used to, and cities like Cleveland, is just taking the word of the people that's out there, taking the word from the newspaper, taking the word from, if you're a beat reporter, you pick your beat reporter that you like, you take the word for it, and that's what becomes law. Now we got a new era where media is independent media. It's independent. So now there's a lot of different thought processes that come from a lot of different places. And guess what? That makes people uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. You hit it right on the head. Okay. That's Kenny Pickett. Joe Flacco. Let's talk about Joe Flacco. What's gonna be his role? He's on record saying he don't want to come out and say he's a mentor. He don't want to say that because he said he want to compete for the starting job. Is he capable? And I checked the records for the last 5 years. He hasn't played a whole season yet, from my record that I seen online. So when you look at Joe Flacco this year, not 2 years ago, how do you see it playing out with him?
So when you look at how you extrapolate this thing across, to me, you look at it, Joe Flacco, he's 40. Is he 41?
41? 41?
I think he is. Don't quote me on him. Okay, so if he's 41 years old, you take a look at what he did back in Indianapolis. They had a young guy in Richardson over there that they drafted. Joe could have got that job, but he did not play very well last year at all. He didn't play well in Indianapolis at all last year. If you go back for the Cleveland Browns, now Joe played very well. He threw for 300 yards, I think 5 out of the 7 games he possibly played the year the Cleveland Browns went to the playoffs. But go back and watch. Go back, watch his Houston Texans game and where Joe Flacco threw 3 interceptions, a couple of pick six. That game was done before it even started. I mean, we got cooked in that game, and it was a very telling sign that after that game, the Cleveland Browns could have brought Joe Flacco back, but they didn't. And by reports, they didn't offer him a contract at all. And Joe, I asked him personally, myself, on the UCSS, in my show. I said, Joe, do you feel like you're one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the world? He said, yes, I do. And when he said that, I knew in his mind that he felt like, and as people talk about, when you get a little bite to play, right? When you get a little chance to play and show yourself and what you can do, and you got some success. Playing quarterback and playing in the NFL is like a drug. You didn't taste it again. He felt young again. He felt the guys around him. He was excited. And so he felt at that point in time, I might have rekindled my career. I was on the couch when they called Joe Flacco in because we had the injuries. So for him to say he was one of the better 32 in the league, I knew he had the competitive juices, which led to the fact that there might be some friction with Deshaun Watson if Deshaun Watson came back and Joe Flacco being in the room because Joe is accomplished and Joe has some good tape. Now, you go back to this year and you start saying, okay, well, how does that play into the world this year? Joe has not in the last 5 years completed a season, 17 games. I think it's far-fetched to think that Joe Flacco is going to play all 17 games. And furthermore, even if Joe Flacco, even if Joe Flacco was playing decent, let's keep it a buck.
Keep it a buck.
You're on a 1-year deal. What are you going to do next year? You're not re-signing him next year. You're not. You invested a third-round pick. You've invested a 5th-round pick in 2 young quarterbacks, and you got another draft pick coming up next year, and you have 2 first-round picks that you potentially could package to get a quarterback if none of these quarterbacks turn out to be anything. So my question is, why would I waste all this year watching 41-year-old Joe Flacco when I know he's not going to be the answer, even if he's playing well? It just don't make no sense. To me, it is even.
Don't make none.
On this. If it's even, Steven, if it's even close, I got to go with a young dude. You know why? Because there's no upside in going with the older guy. And the worst case scenario is this, and I've extrapolated this out weeks and months ago. I talked about this years ago when the Deshaun Watson thing happened. I said the worst thing that could happen was Deshaun Watson getting injured in the middle of the year, and you got to go and try to find these quarterbacks in play. And then I said, now you're going to be at a point where you owe him all this money, and now you're behind the 8 ball. It's a cap hit of $100 million when you try to let Deshaun Watson go. The only way you get out of that hole is if you get a franchise quarterback that is cheap and that can play ball and turns out to be your guy. If Shedeur Sanders turns out to be your guy, people will forget all about Deshaun Watson. The money also offsets itself because he's a 5th-round pick and because he slid so far. Now you still have cap room to keep Deshaun Watson on the roster, but at the same time still make the roster good around around Shedeur Sanders in order to give him an opportunity. So that's the only thing that really makes sense. And by the way, just to give you another thing, Kenny Pickett is young enough to restart his career. Here's another reason against Kenny Pickett that I think people don't get. Because of what Sam Darnold did last year. Sam Darnold rekindled his career. He ended up getting $100 million. Geno Smith is another guy who revitalized his career after it looked like it was done. He got 100 and something from the Raiders. If Kenny Pickett, it came out and they played good ball, he threw for other 4,000 yards, started all the games, the Cleveland Browns would then have to give him a long-term contract. The Cleveland Browns would then have to give him a contract over $100 million because that's the going rate for a guy in his age with producing that level. And they wouldn't be able to pay him and keep Deshaun Watson's roster bonus in his cap number there. So that's another reason why it does you no good to be running around and being like, oh, we'll start Kenny Pickett and still not know what we got at quarterback.
You're right. I've been saying that all week, all month, really. So, okay, let's move forward. We seen the Ricky minicamp. I'm past that. G-Money. I'm past that. OTAs. Explain to my people what does OTA means and what does it does for the players.
So the OTAs is a voluntary period during the off season in which the team is allowed to schedule team practices where it's a scheduled group activity. Generally speaking, due to the Players Association, there's limits on how much you can be at the facility because the players in the collective bargaining agreement they negotiated that, hey, I don't want to be in the off season. We don't want our guys getting beat up. Coaches can't have things where it's mandatory but not mandatory, and you got to call guys in and do all that good stuff. They don't want to do that. So basically, OTAs is a team practice where they're allowed to do certain things. They're not allowed to have contact. They're not allowed to do a lot of 7-on, a lot of contact and different drills, but they are out there practicing as a unit. So in OTAs, it is voluntary. Guys, Myles Garrett didn't show up. Deontay Johnson, the receiver we just acquired, didn't show up. I don't think Joel Bitonio, a left guard, is there. Guys that are veterans sometimes may not show up. They may not show up because of contract disputes, or they may just not show up because they're like, I got a trainer. I work on my own. I'm doing it in off season. Whatever the case may be, team can't force them to do it. So from a perspective of what it is for quarterbacks, is much more important for quarterbacks than it is for other positions, because quarterbacks not necessarily are going to have contact, but they can do things like 7-on-7. They can do 11-on-11. They can get together and do organized GH. Yes, you're correct. Organized team activities. That's what the technique, the OTA stands for. And so when you have that, now you get to get on the same page with your routes. You get to throw the slants. You get to work with the receivers. And the biggest part of that is let's get in the classroom and learn the offense. And for Shedeur and for a lot of other younger rookie guys, the thing that you're looking for is Shedeur was out of shotgun a lot. Kevin Stefanski runs a lot of under center play action stuff. A lot of you will rarely see shotgun on first and second down. He runs a lot of traditional 2 tight end sets, maybe with a fullback. And as watching Colorado and Coach Prime and a lot of those teams in college, it's an adjustment period to be able to, run play action fakes, turn your back to the line of scrimmage. It's just footwork and different things like that, with also calling the verbiage in the huddle. So it's very important for the quarterbacks more than defensive linemen, guys like that, because what are you going to learn? You're just getting off the field and pass rushing. You can't contact anybody, can't tackle anybody. So it's much more important. So OTAs is one of those things. They have the rookie minicamp, what they had before. They've had OTAs now. And then they're going to have some other camps, organized team activities before camp comes up in the end of August, end of July into August during to camp periods. Also, little known fact, and this is going to be very important though too, is that I think this needs to be highlighted, and I think we have not done a very good job of highlighting this. At OTAs, there are only specific segments of OTAs that are open to the media. I believe it's once a week that you can see, and be out there. And sometimes even in those periods, they tell you can't watch this team period. You can't watch that. You can't watch the 11-on-11s. And sometimes it's behind closed doors. So the majority of the practices, if you have one practice open to the public, I think it's 3 practices. For every one, there's 3 practices or 2 practices that are indoors, not available to the public or the press. So that is very important to say, because when we talk about the competition, when we frame who's in the lead, when we frame who is ahead of the competition, who's getting the most reps, Kevin Stefanski has said time and time again, do not pay too much close attention on the outside of who's getting the reps, because we have 2 whole practices inside where these guys are rotating. And I think Kevin Stefanski, I don't agree with everything he does. As a matter of fact, I just tell the truth. If he does good, I'll say he did good. If he did bad, I'll just say he did bad. I mean, I
Yeah.
ain't side with nothing. But I think it's a decent look because I think he understood what type of circus it is. I think he understood what type of narratives go out when all of a sudden, can you imagine if Shedeur Sanders came out and was getting all the first team reps, right? Say let's do a thought experiment. He was first in the huddle. The first thing the people would say is, what? You got him taking first team reps over all these veterans? Joe Flacco, he won a Super Bowl. Look, Kenny Pickett's former first round, and Dylan Gabriel went ahead of him. And when you do that, what happens is, this is just human nature. People start to find a reason why he shouldn't be taking them reps. Not that, oh, let me judge how he does when they're taking the reps. It's no, you need to validate. In my mind, after I heard a whole bunch of things about why you slid, you need to now validate through your play why you are getting reps over that person, and that person, right? And that starts to snowball. That starts the shadow of doubt. But now, if you just say, I'm gonna give you some reps inside, and you can't even see it, all you got to do is go off what they saw in the field, which is a third of what really is happening. So I think, to me, I'm like, man, I ain't even gonna go through this circuit. I ain't answering all these questions. We're gonna rotate our guys, we're gonna put them in a position, and then we're gonna keep it pushing, because I am not giving people opportunity. Because you gotta think about it. When you get bored and there ain't nothing to talk about, you have to decide which story you're gonna tell.
Yep. You right, G-Money. You right. You exactly what you hit that on the head. But check this out though, G-Money. Yeah, Mr. Garrett Bush, my dog, my rock. Check this out. I was watching the ultimate Cleveland Sports Channel. I thought you was gonna be on now, but I guess I caught the program, the show, on the day you was off.
Mm-hmm.
A question came up because the words was out in the media and YouTube street and Twitter street. You can't go by OTA. It don't count because Shedeur went 7-9 with 1 TD.
Mm-hmm.
It was the guy that hosts your show wasn't in the booth. He was out there in the seat. I don't know his name. And he said these words. They was talking about Myles Garrett. Why he wasn't at OTAs. And I was thinking, that's the same guy that said, and Miss Mary said, OTAs don't count. When Shedeur was out there balling, now they want Myles Garrett at OTAs because he signed a contract. And I heard you came back the next day and you pushed back against that, say he didn't sign it, he earned it. They didn't give it to him. He earned that contract. So when you hear the media going sideways and using things against Shedeur, what's your take on that? They can't have it both ways.
Yeah, listen. So let me break this down. Say I know what the situation you talk about. So let me just set it up like this. So on UCSS, how we do it is, what I like about UCSS is the fact that we are able to have discourse, right? UCSS is the only show in the game where we allowed to go back and forth with each other and hash it out in terms of top topics, current events, all that good stuff. And I think that's why it's so successful, because it's not traditional media. We go in there and we prove our points. We do what we need to do and talk about it. But the great thing about it is, I'm great friends with all those guys. The guy that I think you talk about, Mikey McNuggets, shout out to him. He's a great producer of the show. Young guy, really talented. We hang out all the time. He's one of my good friends. But the great thing about it is we have the ability to talk and call each other out and say, hey, listen, man, this is what I liked about what you said and what I don't like about what you said. I think, and as we phrase this thing and pose this thing, I think it's important for you to get this, because some people may not be aware of some of the takes I've had in the past. This Myles Garrett take that I've had has been a take of mine for 3 running years. We had it. Myles Garrett has not been at OTAs, right? And there's always been this things with Myles Garrett that the people, when you're the best player on a traditionally bad team, Your OTA, you guys are like, they put so much pressure on you. And it's like, look, Myles Garrett is a defensive player, your candidate. He's not going to learn anything from OTAs. Listen, man, he don't need to be at OTAs. Right now, I think he's off with his girlfriend somewhere in another country hanging out. And I'm like, Myles Garrett is in shape. He's going to be in shape. And here's the thing. I think sometimes it's a red herring. And here's what I do to prove my points. And it's just not the people in UCSS. It's just not the beat reporter. This is the mentality of a lot of sports fans because they are hardline, by the book, be at camp, be at practice. You earn this money, you need to be there. And they really side with the ownership and the coaching staff when it comes to those type of things. I'm a little different. So for me, I look at it like this. If you're going to say Myles Garrett has to be at practice, right? If you're going to say Myles Garrett has to be at practice because I know it isn't going to do anything for him, but it shows leadership. The owners wanted leadership, and the ownership came out and said that they want more leadership from Myles. I get that. But the problem is this. If Myles Garrett's a defensive player a year is there, that means practice is important, does it not? That means practice is important in your mind. The point I'm making greater to the Myles Garrett case, because I've been having that conversation for 3 years. Greater than that point is this. If Myles Garrett is as accomplished as he is and knowing the system and knowing everything, if you want him at practice, then how can you say if you're charting passes, if you're seeing Shedeur Sanders go 7-9 with 3 touchdown passes, instead of you saying, yeah, Shedeur threw the ball well, 7-9, 3 touchdown passes. Every time Shedeur does something well, they got to throw a little qualifier after it. Yeah, but it was only with the 13s. Shedeur was 7-9, 3 touchdowns. Yeah, but it's just practice. It's just practice. Shedeur Sanders looked good on the microphone. I thought he answered a lot of the media's questions well. He seems like a mature young man. Oh, but listen, that was listen, I mean, what is he supposed to do? I mean, he's supposed to say that. Shedeur Sanders came out here first week. First day he touched down in these streets. First day he touched down in Cleveland. He went over to an inner city school and was talking to kids, pulled up, showing love, giving love, showing them love, and just doing that. What people say, well, look, I mean, I think that's a PR campaign. What is he supposed to do? He's supposed to do, I mean, is he going to, and Boogie, his agent, and part of his management team comes to the show. Great episode. Check that out on UCSS. He says, Shedeur been doing that everywhere. When Shedeur went to each and every city for visits, he was going to schools. Shedeur been doing that way back in high school. He's always been going to schools. That's what he has a passion for. So those were all things where people was always saying, oh, well, but this thing, but and here's the thing. I always tell people, you say, why is Shedeur's fan base so on edge? Why are they so on edge? I said, listen, because if you were always putting little salt pellets after everything you say, that gets annoying. It just does, man. It gets annoying. And so when people call you out, then all of a sudden, and I tell them, there's a lot of them, and when a lot of them call you out on it, you're gonna get overwhelmed and be like, why is everybody on me? Well, all you have to do is stop throwing that little shade at the end of it, and then everything will be fine. If everybody came out here and said Shedeur Sanders looked good, man, 7-9, 3 touchdown passes, I'm excited to see when he get into these games, man, because everything we heard about him is exactly opposite of what we seeing today. And go on to Dylan Gabriel. I thought Dylan Gabriel did X, Y, and Z. Then go on to Flacco. But y'all you can't resist the red meat. You can't resist to say, but they passed on him how many times? What does that have to do with today? We talk about the fierce urgency of today. We're talking about somebody that's here on your team trying to help your team win, that's your team drafted. We're talking about the future and what we can do. And we're talking about potentially seeing a quarterback competition. Why are you in your bag? They tell me I'm emotional. I'm like, listen, I've kept it 100 every single week. We talking about this. I said, I wanted him at 2. I wanted him at 33. Why would I not think he's good and I want him to start? But at the end of the day, I'm not willing to say that I'm going to put my thumb on the scales and say that he came out there and he was 15 for 15 with 3,000 yards. I'm not going to say that. Like, I just let it play out. And at this point, we can all let it play out and be cool. Everybody gonna get a shot to play and do it. But you can't keep writing and doing something. And I'm gonna just say this: everybody in the Cleveland media is not a bad person. I know all of them. I know all of them. Some of them got their quirks. All of them not bad people. There's some people that really is supporting Shedeur and really want to see him do well. But you can't be surprised when you got a person who somebody is saluting and so somebody is following, and you get to a certain place, and the first thing you do is you put your bags down, and then all of a sudden it's this trail of salt on everything you're doing. It's going to be pushback. And I told them before they start with it, and I keep it real with everybody. I said, this is not what you're used to. You're used to, okay, the Deshaun Watson thing, I could write what I want. Odell Beckham Jr., I could write what I want. Baker Mayfield, I could write what I want. All of those players had a rocky up and down. Johnny Manziel with the media. Here, it's a little bit different because they're going to ride for who their guy is. And at the end of the day, listen, they say, well, G. Bush, what are you doing? Are you over there pandering? I said, bro, ain't nothing about pandering. It's about being 100. I said, bro, can't make me say nothing. I'm just saying what is evident. I'm just saying what's evident. But you can't leave all, like you said, you did a great job of showing them. He said, I'm done with OTAs. I said, I'm done with OTAs. I said, I like that. We moving on. We on to the next stage of the project. My question is, how is we past OTAs or rookie mini camp? Now we on OTAs. Now we about to be in training camp, and we still talk about 5th round pick.
Oh,
how?
Man.
How?
He a part of the team.
And he part of the team and putting on, and he out there throwing the football. Why would you not be reporting on throwing the football instead of asking why? What's the infatuation with asking why are you so popular? Who would they do that at? Like, where did they do that at?
Talk that talk, big dog. I heard it too, big dog. On way down here in Georgia, I heard that. He said,
what? I'm like, look, they're asking him, do you blame your father for your slide? I said, what? I said, where did they try to get you to blame your father? I said, that's the wildest thing in the world. Look, man, I don't care what none of y'all talking about. You ain't gonna never get nobody to tell me about my dad. My dad been with me forever. He been married 40 years. He took care of my mom. He ain't in the streets. He ain't went nowhere. When I needed clothes, he gave me every single thing I needed. And I'm going to ride with him till the wheels fall off. You can't talk to me about my father. That's almost off limits. What you talking about? I got upset. Like, what?
I even got mad about that. I'm way here in Georgia.
You know how much of a privilege you know how much of a privilege it is to have a father, a black father, that has raised you and has been in your life since day one and has put you on and got you where you. My father started baseball teams in the inner city, and he said, "You know what? You gonna play for me." I used to play for traveling teams. I mean, you know what he told me? My dad told me I was 14. We almost went to the Little League World Series. I was one of the best players in the state. He said, you going to play for my team. I said, what you mean? I'm playing for the traveling team. We about to win. He said, nope. You going to play for my team. We're going to go out here. We're going to raise this money so other people can get uniforms. And I always laugh and say, when we had the old Negro League jerseys, we had no numbers on them. All we could afford was the numbers on the back, no name. And he said, let me tell you why I drafted you. He said, listen, I put a lot of time and energy. You know how to play the game. You know how the game is supposed to be played. And first of all, you got the mentality to understand, I don't got to re-raise you about the ups and downs of things. Yeah, you're not going to throw your glove when you strike out. You're not going to do some of those things. So I need you to help coach up some of these other dudes so you can be an example because they don't have what you have. They don't have that discipline. They don't have none of that. And you know what? I didn't understand and I couldn't respect it until I was older. And I couldn't respect it until I got older, and I look at my dad and I'd be like, man, thank you so much because he gave you that level and the confidence to say, when it gets tough and I say some of the things that I say, he already done instilled in me, you know who you is. Don't let nobody tell you who you ain't. You know who you are. So when the storm come, you can walk through it. And some people just don't understand it. That's why when the barbershop, I say, if you know, you know.
Listen here, we got G. Bush. Boy, I'm letting it cook, y'all. But G. Bush, there's a lot of folks out there still trying to blame Coach Prime. Coach Prime went on a podcast and said, man, I know what it's all about. It hurt. It still hurt. It hurt me. It hurt me, big dog. What you think about that?
Man, it's tough because I was watching some of the stuff, and some of the stuff is, and I watched the narrative, and it's like, and how I did on my show was, it's a lot of vague stuff that go around, and I had to get. I went on my episode. I went and got on Reddit. See, because Reddit, when you get on Reddit, they'll tell you how they really feel because you can hide behind that emoji. You can hide behind that name and you can say whatever you want. Ain't nobody pulling up Reddit posts. And when I go and I say, I did a blog and it's on my site right now. I said, why everybody hate Coach Prime? Why everybody is salty at Coach Prime? I said, he's one of the greatest American athletes ever to grace the fields. He's the only man I know that played baseball and football in the same day. He would play the football game and went and play the baseball game for the playoffs. I said, you know how hard that is? Not only that, he's a man of God. Not only is that, he raised his kids in a way that and by the way, if you guys, a lot of people don't understand around in the stratosphere, Coach Prime is old school. He ain't like, go watch. I watch all of listen. The well-off media joint with Colorado Buffaloes. I watch every single one of them podcasts when they come out. Shout out to Shiloh too. By the way, Shiloh, I love that when he was working out with them trainers by himself. He a real humble dude. He was working out, didn't get invited to the combine. He got invited, didn't get invited to the combine. He went, did his own thing. And I'm glad to see he got that contract when he's doing his thing in Tampa Bay. Shout out to him. I enjoyed that.
Shout out, Shiloh.
I enjoyed that whole thing.
Yeah.
But Prime is old school. He be telling them, hey man, take that off. Hey man, what is you doing with that? Take that off. Hey, put them at Jackson State. He told them, y'all ain't ready. Put them cell phones away. Y'all on here checking the cell phone. No, he very old school. So I'm looking on the outside looking in and saying, why is people giving him the level of hate that he's getting from the jump street? And then I had to really start thinking about it though. See, Coach Prime represents he represents a level of radicalness, a level of doing it my way, a level of breaking the system. And you know, for me, I find it very interesting because we have a lot of people that are in other streams of life that are very radical. They break the system all the time, and people seem to applaud it. They seem to like that type of energy.
They do.
Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But when it comes to football, they like.
No, they do. I see it too.
They like to stay the same. Now listen. And at the same time, Prime is the one too who came and said, "Yo, I'm coming. I'm going for Jackson State. I'm coming from Jackson State." And my mom and my dad went to a HBCU, graduated from HBCU. We watched every Jackson State game. So we was watching it there. Even before I even knew he was coming to the Browns or being drafted, I was just watching Jackson State. He left Jackson State, and you started to see the people. Oh, you're supposed to stay at Jackson State forever. You were supposed to be down there forever, Prime. Prime said, listen, man, I go where the mandate is. You ain't tell Dick Saban that. You ain't tell Dabo Sweeney that. You ain't telling Urban Meyer that. Why all of a sudden I got to be down there doing what? What? Stop playing. I'm going. I have a mandate. I did what I did here. Was set up. He put his assistant coach in a position to become a head coach, and they still rolling. He get to Colorado, and he said, listen, this ain't good enough. They won one game. I'm coming in here and bringing the cats I need to come in and talk to. I'm bringing my people with me. And people said, well, wow, I don't like how he did that. Let me tell y'all something real quick, man, about the way NCAA work. Because a lot of people use this as a red herring and it don't really work. You got to educate them. Anytime there's a coaching change, everything is up for debate. When coaches get fired or hired in college, kids hit the transfer portal. You have a meeting. It happened to me when I was coming up, and I was at Ohio University. My coach was Jim Grove. He recruited me there. I was one of his top recruits, and he redshirted me the first year. I was mad because I got redshirted. I was kind of hot about that, but I stayed at the program because I had a great relationship. After that freshman year, he left and went to Wake Forest. Wake Forest ended up winning the ACC, beating Florida State, and winning one of the most miraculous turnarounds of a program that was nothing. He was a great coach. I used to watch those teams on the field and be salty because I knew what type of good coach he was. But when your coach leaves, you have a meeting with the coach, and the coach says, "Hey, this is what my new game plan is. This is what we're looking to do. This is what we're looking to see. These are what we are looking to run. We're going to tell you whether or not you fit in this system." They'll give you an opportunity to stay and say, I can work in that system. I would like to stay here, coach. Here's what we're going to do. They'll give you an opportunity to stay in the winter. You saw that with Coach Prime. You saw how his winter workouts go. You get an opportunity to stay at that end of the period. They'll say, yeah, you either did a good job. We see you a rotation spot for you over here, or we love what you did, but we're going to move in a different direction. College scholarships are 1 year renewable. And if you're a good kid and you work hard, you know what the coach do? The coach get on the phone. He says, listen, I got 17 guys right here. 17 guys. We moving on. We got kids. We moving in a different system. Let me get on the phone and make some contacts with over here at Auburn. Let me make some contacts with at Iowa, over at Minnesota. I got a coach I used to work with over at Iowa State or Minnesota. And he says, here you go. Let me get you on the phone, get you together, and you might have a nice landing spot over somewhere else in the transfer portal and land somewhere else, right? That's just the way the game works. They took that part of the game and act like it was just specific to Coach Prime, and it happens at every program. And they take that and use that as he just came in and got rid of a bunch of kids and kicked them out on the street. No, that's not how it happens. It's not how it goes down. And the second thing about Coach Prime is he's unapologetic.
Right.
When you're unapologetic about certain things and how you want to move, it's a way to say, all right, well the term, think about this. Where did the term he needs to be humbled come from? Hold on, let me
break that thing down, big dog. Break that thing down.
What are you talking about? He need to be humbled. Like there's an outside counsel that says when you get too high, you win too many games, you're too successful, you're too outwardly motivating, that you need to be knocked down a couple of notches. I disagree with that whole assessment, and I think that whole assessment, I actually take offense to it because it's something that we see in regular life all the time. You can't tell a person who they can be and how they can be in the confidence level. I didn't see a multitude of people come through this building as a Cleveland Browns quarterback with confidence and leave humbled. What humbles you is your play. What humbles you is your skill level. And I looked at the process and I said, since the season ended and Shedeur Sanders threw his last pass at Colorado, how many passes did he throw to the day? The answer is none. After the season was over, his career was done. The passes was in the archives. I saw what I saw in the archives and the passes, and I loved it. I said, yes, sir, I like that. We good to go. Mel Kiper loved it too. He had him the number one quarterback. Just don't take my word for it. And on top of that, I'm saying, well, why would you need to be humbled from that point in time to now when ain't no plan going on? There ain't no passes being thrown. What do you mean humbled? The problem is they want you to go. Certain individuals would like it where you're still begging for positions. You're still begging. You want to come in. I'm just a humble guy and unconsuming. And you know what Prime said? He was hurt the most because it was people like his teammates. A lot of his former guy, Chris Carter, had some words for Shedeur. A lot of people who he played with had words, and Coach Prime is looking over there at them like, so you don't remember they was using that same stuff against Randy Moss? You don't remember when Warren Sapp was one of the best defensive tackles and he slid to 17? You don't remember when CJ Stroud was up for the #1 pick? They talk about he might slide because he didn't go to the Manning Academy and he didn't call off. I'm going to call off to the Mannings. They ain't the royal family. Oh, how the Mannings the royal family? CJ Stroud didn't go to the Manning Academy. Bro, if you don't stop with all that joint, all of the noise, all of the extra stuff, and he looking at all them people and saying, you don't remember where they did the same thing to you? And now you using it like it's the truth? That's what hurt him the most. That's what hurt him. Because people how quickly we forget. How quickly we forget what you go through and understand. And so that was the part that hurt him, but I wanna bring it all home. He said something, and I tell you people this all the time. What God got for you, you can't do nothing about it. Well, I believe in a higher power. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe in what you're supposed to be doing. And that's my own personal opinion. I ain't beating you over the head with the religion, but here's what I'm gonna say. Sometimes God gotta put you in a certain situation, and it ain't no coincidence about it. It ain't none at all. It's the only way it could have happened. And sometimes he puts you in a position to where you got to learn from some things. And sometimes I call it a promotion demotion. Sometimes it seemed like you got demoted, but you got promoted. Because that puts you in the best place for you to thrive, the best place to understand, the best place to compete, the best place to get what you need to get to the next level. And Coach Prime understand that. The 5th round, he did his job. Shedeur moved from some people who would have been in a single parent home and lost that many millions of dollars. They could have lost track of what the goal was and what you're supposed to do. But Shedeur and God, they blessed him to a point where the money wasn't an issue. Right. Now he could just he got the experience. And sometimes the game and experience is the best thing to get. So now he ain't got to worry about the money. All he got to do is concentrate on football and keep doing what he's doing. God work him in serious ways, man.
You right, bro. I've been saying that for 2 weeks. But like, man, you've been on the same page. But before I let you go, I see you. I got one more 6 minutes. All right, check this out. Let's talk about Shedeur. What is Shedeur's path to QB1 for the Cleveland Browns football team in your perspective?
Man, listen. So for me, I think, and the cool part about it is, it all fits in the same. It fits in the same thing. I've been so excited about this season, and I've been so excited about this quarterback competition because at the end, in the essence, it brings it back to what the game of football is to me. It's about guys going out there competing within a team environment and rallying people. And one thing that Shedeur Sanders has, he has the ability to galvanize people and a large group of people and to endear himself to people and to endear himself to his teammates. He's a genuine guy. And so when he says, man, I love the fact that I get to talk to Joe Flacco and just get to soak up that knowledge, right? Just to get a little opportunity to soak it up and talk. He said, yo, I like Dylan Gabriel. We talk. And I thought it was funny when Dylan Gabriel even had his little wrist thing up. He had his little celebration thing with the rookies. Loved that, man. I loved it. Yeah. That just goes to show you they done left all the outside stuff in there. All he got to continue to do is keep being him. He's going to get his opportunity. It's going to come. Just like everybody else is. Just keep doing what you're doing. Making sure. Kevin Stefanski, in the offseason, he was on a 92.3 The Fan. He was on ESPN Cleveland. He came in and said, man, I love Shedeur. You guys going to get to love him too. His office is downstairs in the front part of the facility. They got to come. Every quarterback got to come through my wing to get to where they're going. And guess what? I'm clocking time. I know exactly how, and he's been there early every single day. He's done. He's in the community already doing it. He's already, out of all of the questions that they've asked him, and some of them we talked about and laughed. I'm already mad. How you gonna say you want me to down my daddy? That's not gonna happen. Every single question he's handled with grace, dignity. He's done a good job. I don't even pay attention to it. He's like, man, I mean, I'm grateful that I got fans that that like me, but I'm enthralled. I'm in the whole process of football, which takes a lot of time. So I appreciate him, but I don't really think about those things. And so he's done a great job doing that as well. When in terms on the football field, what he's going to have to do, I do believe this quarterback competition is going to come down to one or two things. It's going to come down to, is Kevin Stefanski, for him to be a number one quarterback, is he comfortable enough to realize, if I'm against the Baltimore Ravens, if I'm against the Detroit Lions, do I have enough comfort ability with Shedeur Sanders for me to call this play? He get to the line of scrimmage, understand what it needs to be executed, and being able to deliver under pressure consistently to get his team to move the ball up and down the field. And am I going to be worried about him being rattled? From what I see, he's not a guy that's going to be rattled. I think that's not the part that gets it. The second part is he's already very accurate. Can he be accurate in the intermediate places, the 15 to 25 yards, not the check downs, because those are the things the defense going to give you. In this league, you got to be able to throw it with anticipation when you're under pressure, when people is around your feet, when the crowd is loud. You need to be able to complete them passes. And if he can complete intermediate 15 to 25-yard passes, have a grasp on the playbook and what Kevin Stefanski wants to do at a high level, and if it's even, say number 84 to 83, 85 to 80, 83, 84, then if you even, you're losing. I got to get it with the young guy, because the biggest travesty is, and I'm setting this up right now, well, people are going to get mad about this, but who cares? I'm setting it up. Under no circumstances should the Cleveland Browns be playing Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco for 10 games and then trying to decide which of the remaining 7 games Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel are going to play. No, that is not enough sample size. And all that sets up is the catch-22 conversation at the end of the road, like Boys to Men, is, what are we going to do? We didn't have enough look at Shedeur. I mean, he did some good things these 3 games. He did some things we didn't like so much in these 2 games, but now we got a first-round pick. And we don't know if we need a quarterback because we didn't get a chance to see him like that. No, that is not what the mandate is this year. The mandate is not rolling out veterans that you have nothing invested in and not understanding whether or not Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel are going to be quarterbacks. That's what we're not going to do. Giving them the little 4 games or whatever the case may be, figure it out. But for Shedeur, his goal is to, it may seem daunting. Don't try to do it all at once. You're not going to win the job at one practice, but it's the breadcrumbs. It's the earliness. It's the staying late. It's just getting with receivers afterwards. It's learning the playbook, winning over the offensive line, doing the little things, asking the right questions, and slow walking them down. Yeah, you got the acumen. I'm slow walking you, though. I just picked up some slow walking you, though. And that's how you get it done.
There you go, big dog. Yes, sir. I've said that other day. Gonna slow walk them down. Boy, I love it. Boy, you just validate what I said. Hey, before I let you go, I got one more question, but I got to get this super chat off here for you.
No doubt.
P. Bush, Miss Maria S. I'm glad to see you on my favorite show with BWatts. I support you on your channel, but yesterday you and your co-host, Calling 12 supporter Goofy, was out of line. We support Cleveland and want them to win the Big 12. Oh, let me ask you this question. Appreciate the super chat, but check this out, G Money. What gonna happen, in your own words, when the CU aunties, Scope Buff Nation, Sanders family, friends meet with that dog pound and the Cleveland Browns fans?
Here's what. So let me.
What need to happen? What need to happen, big dog?
I'm gonna say something ain't nobody been saying. I'm gonna say something ain't nobody been saying. And I plan on talking about this a little bit on Saturday on my Saturday show. Here's the problem. Everybody from the 2 fan bases. I've been divorced. I've been divorced once. I'm happily married now. This is like your in-laws, right? When you get married, and I like to give analogies. when you get married, you marrying that person, right? You marrying whoever you marry, man or what. That's the person you've decided that you're going to, spend the rest of your life with. You done been on dates with them. You done been through arguments. You've been ups and downs. You've been doing a lot of things. You understand what that person is. And obviously you guys have a very deep relationship, emotional, spiritual, physical relationship, right? That's where your bond is at. When you marry that person, you have in-laws that come along with that person, right? And the first time that you see those in-laws and you announce that, yes, we are getting married, does that mean that your in-laws automatically become best friends? No. There's in-laws that people don't get along with for the first 3-4 years until they realize, hey, Jerry's not going nowhere. Melinda loves Jerry. Jerry ain't going nowhere. We might as well just go ahead and like him. Hey, we might find this thing. Listen, he don't talk much. He don't talk much. All he want to do is talk about working in the garage with them cars. But listen, if Melinda loves him, I'm gonna go ahead and keep Jerry. So the thought process is this. It takes time to build a relationship. And when you got two groups of people coming from two different sets of backgrounds, both of them with a lot of pain and frustration in their past, right, you're going to have people that is at arm's length. I ask people all the time. The Cleveland Browns just went through 3 divorces in a row. Those 3 divorces is Baker Mayfield. There's some people still talking about Baker Mayfield to this day. Deshaun Watson, he's still on the roster. People still mad about that today. So when you talk about new quarterbacks, right?
Right.
Shedeur Sanders gets thrown into a pile of, well, I've seen this before. He's going to have to prove it to us that he's worth us investing in. And you're like, that's not how normal people really think about that. That's just you dealing with your relationship issues from the last one. On the other side, you got the Colorado aunties, the uncles, the supporters, the prime people. They went through something traumatic too. They just saw people get slander somebody who they thought didn't do nothing wrong. And people do victory laps on them in real time. And so they have a very big, real distrust of the media, what you're saying and how it's working. They're not going to come up to the Cleveland media and be like, hey, guys, how you doing? Here's Shedeur. Yeah. I know you're going to love him. We'll go catch you the first game. That ain't how it worked. They're like, no. We at arm's length distance. Here's how things play off. When you continue to grow and you continue to win football games and you see Shedeur start and you start to see Shedeur do his thing and you start to see the Cleveland Browns progress and you start to understand the people around, you say, I like that Cedric Tillman guy. He throw the ball. Shedeur and him got a connection. Oh, I love the way they was blocking. You see how they picked Shedeur up? Look, at the end of the day, you'll become a family in due time. But you can't microwave that. That ain't what it's about. We ain't threw no touchdown passes yet. We ain't threw nothing. We haven't even picked a starter. And so the thought process is that you have to come in and automatically fit in is a flawed logic. That ain't how life works. Nobody's going to come in and submit. They're going to be like, listen, they stance is, y'all was 3-14. Why? What are we submitting to? The Browns fans is over here like, listen, you know how many quarterbacks we didn't have? I'll be glad if we can keep the quarterback past a year. So the notion that he's the savior right now to me is out of pocket. But the great part about it is this. If you want to get to where you're going to go, it got to be one band, one sound. And and Shedeur Sanders will lead whatever the case may be, and he'll eventually say it. We got to get behind this team. We got to get, and I'll give you the final thing before I don't want to take too much of your time. Let me ask you a question over here. When Shedeur was at Jackson State, did y'all support Jackson State? Yeah.
No, I support I mean I support the Sanders.
Yeah,
they come
along with them. So when you came to Colorado, right?
Right.
And they came to Colorado. Did y'all support Colorado?
Well, we had to. If we're gonna support Shedeur, we got to go with Colorado.
My dad, I played football. I do stuff for the Browns. We watch Colorado every single week. Every week here in Ohio. I ain't got no ties to it. And my father said, hey, give me one of them prime sweatsuits for Christmas. Give me one of the Brown sweatsuits for Christmas. You know why? Because when they came over, they supported him in Colorado. Heck, your intro is beautiful, and it got Colorado players on it, right? So eventually, if we want to get to where we're going to go, y'all will have Cleveland Browns stuff on as well. But it don't take, but you can't microwave nothing, and you don't need to be there at that time. That's okay.
Yeah, you're right. Hey,
all right.
Yeah. It's all right. Yeah, you're right. Hey, you got a super chat here, my daddy. Yo, G, I got a question. How long do you think the Cleveland media will keep up the slander on the Sanders?
I think I like to look at this. I like to look at this from a standpoint like this. Some people may act like it, but we ain't dumb. When that writing is on the wall, like when the writing is on the wall and they start throwing that football around, and if Shedeur, by all accounts, I think Flacco and Shedeur, if you want to get the coach, I think Flacco right now has the inside track to start game 1, but Shedeur is number 2. That's the way I see it. And I think, and mine is, the reason I even got him number 2 is because he's not getting the level of reps that some of the other ones is at. But what he's doing with his reps, he's killing it. So I'm gonna take that into consideration. But here's the thing: when the writing is on the wall, and that's the great thing about the sport of football, you could be rich, poor, black, white, Indian, Asian. You could be whatever. You could have different religions. When you get on that field, that's all that matters. And between them white lines, that is sacred. You know why? Because you can't fake it out there. You can't fake it. You saw what it was. When the games start hitting, and when you get to the point where now we are in games against inter-squad scrimmages against the Carolina Panthers, we're going to get reports. Against the Philadelphia Eagles, the world champions, we're going to get some reports. So when you start to see that, the people are going to have no choice but to be like, yeah, I didn't think he was going to be that good. Yeah, I thought he was going, but I'm going to tell you what. I can't even lie. He's throwing the heck out of the football right now. I can't even lie. He's cooking. And when people start doing this, that bad. I told him when he was on my show, I said, under no circumstances do you let them trick you out of your celebration dance. That's your marketing. I went to school that's your marketing, bro. When they see that, that's gonna have a whole lot of momentum. And I will always say, sometimes with this too, sometimes it's better. Because here's the thing. The first one out might not be the best option. Sometimes you might want to sit back and have people clamor for you a little bit. Sometimes you might want to have people disqualify themselves. Go ahead, Kenny Pickett, go ahead. You got the first one. You got the first one, Ray Repstar. Sit back here and look around. Because guess what? When the interceptions start coming, when maybe the ball ain't moving up and down the field like they want to as quickly as possible, you know what people are going to be saying? In the highlights, is it time? Is it time for Shedeur Sanders to get some? Where is Shedeur Sanders in the pecking order? Does Shedeur Sanders move into the number 2? At the end of the day, sometimes coming out first may not be the best for you. You sit back in the cut, look around, and learn a few things and chill out. But you listen, he's going to get his opportunity. I think the most difficult part is for the people that want to see it, right? People want to see him play, and we get it. It just may be a little more difficult for them to hold their horses with it. But at the end of the day, my goal is I'm trying to be the conduit. I'm trying to be the guy that bridges the gap between both, because I'm telling you something, man. We need fresh energy, and we need people that is believers, because right now there's a lot of times we done took so many L's in the Cleveland Browns community that we downtrodden from the jump street. We don't believe in nothing. We don't believe in nobody. We ain't never gonna win. We cursed, all that good stuff. We need some people that done seen some stuff, some believers. So my goal is to bridge the gap and say, man, listen, let's get behind them, and because guess what? At the end of the day, they brothers in arms. So I got to root for Krishan Jenkins. I got to root for Harold Fannin Jr. I want y'all to get to know how good Myles Garrett off the edge is. I want you to see Jerry Jeudy, just same way that y'all saw what was going on in Colorado with some of the things y'all was doing. So for me, I'm excited. It ain't going to happen overnight. Some people going to say, man, I'm rooting for him. But the goal is come together, one band, one sound.
Mm-hmm. You're right, big dog. Hey, y'all watching Sports Talk with BWatts along with Garrett Bush of the Barbershop Podcast. I'm asking that y'all do me a favor. I need 200 people to subscribe to his podcast over there on YouTube, and I need 500 people go over there on Twitter, X, and follow him. I'm telling you, the brother give good knowledge, and he gonna keep you up to date on Shedeur in a positive way. He gonna get to you real now. If you want it real, you say you didn't like Miss Mary, so I'm introducing you to a guy that gonna keep it 100 with you. One more question, big dog.
Gotcha.
My people keep asking me, but BWatts, what about the offensive line? I don't know about the offensive line, but I got a guy gonna come up here and tell you about the offensive line. Talk to him, my brother.
Listen, our offense first and foremost, too. Here's how I always say it too. It's a lot. y'all boys is crazy. Listen, y'all is loud and in charge. I'm gonna say y'all got the streets on fire. Y'all got the streets on fire. Y'all got listen. Hey, you in every comment section moving around, boy. Y'all doing a lot, man. At the end of the day, I will say this, man. There was some good. Let them come around a little bit. There's some good people. There's some good people in the media that give it to you that understand what they're doing. Man, you can watch me on a lot of different platforms and doing different things. But also remember, we still got some time involved. We still got some time to do it, because here's the thing: when we get good, it's gonna be really good, right? When we get good, when we get to that promised land, it's gonna be really good. But let me tell you about the offensive line. Offensive line was a problem last year. The offensive line coach was. I didn't know what they was running up front. The Cleveland Browns a couple of years ago had one of the best offensive line coach, Bill Callahan. He went with his son to Tennessee, and that really hurt the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are a traditional running team. They traditionally balanced. They run 2 tight ends. Offensive line up front, we got a guy named DeJuan Jones. He's the largest left tackle in the game, 6'8", 6'9". Almost 400 pounds. He was injured last year. 400, yes. 400, yes. With that weight on your knees, he needed to lose some weight. He has had a couple of surgery. This is a really big year for him. And he has the potential to be a pillar at left tackle. He has the potential to be a pillar and to be one of the best. Joe Bitonio is a borderline Ring of Fame guy. He is usually a captain. He came back for another year this year. He was going to retire. But Joe Bitonio has been a tremendous player at guard for a long period of time. We want to see what he has left, left in the tank. It is encouraging that he did come back. You got Wyatt Teller, who's another guard, is a mauler. He's a guy who's very physical. He's a big offensive lineman, built for running. He can pull, good feet. He's one of those guys who's been injured a little bit the last couple of years as well. And then you got Ethan Poches, who's a center we got from Seattle a couple of years ago, made a Pro Bowl a few years ago. He had a little bit of a down year last year. Well, now I ain't gonna lie about it. Yeah, a little bit of a down year, and the offensive line in general had a bit of a down year as well. And so, and then right, we had Jack Conklin, who is another guy who was injured for a few years, came back and surprisingly played pretty good all last year coming off injury. And you had Tevin Jenkins, an offensive line from the Bears, so they got a free agency. So there's a lot of different things that the Browns have done to bolster that line. And I think that going back to a more traditional run play action type style will help them out a lot, because a lot of those guys are bigger and run blockers. And Ken Dorsey, who was the offensive coordinator who got fired in the offseason, was a shotgun with Deshaun Watson, throw the ball. We was throwing the ball 40 times a game. And Amari Cooper was looking a little older. Jerry Jeudy had a good year, 1,300 yards as a number 1 receiver. But that wasn't what we were suited for. We were a running team. And I think going back to that is going to help them out a lot more, because then you got an opportunity to run play action, slows down the pass rush, and is able to give some of your younger quarterbacks, if you're going to play them, better windows to throw the ball. If they say one thing, and I'll keep it real, they say one thing that you are concerned with Shedeur Sanders, it's not a crazy concern for me, but holding the football. Now, I understand at Colorado, he was asked to be the guy. He was asked to be the person who made plays. I always joke and say, Colorado, that first year was him, Jimmy Horn, Jimmy Horn, and Travis Hunter. They had about 4 ball players. No offensive line, no running game, and they was out there playing around with. And I said the fact that they were able to win those many games was very impressive to me. He was asked to shoulder that. He was asked to make all the big plays and the big throws because you didn't have any coming from nowhere else. So with that being said, you're going to hold the ball a little bit more.
Right.
That being said, in the professional level, that pass rush is going to get there quicker. It's going to come faster. So that's one of the areas that I would like to see him work on, and I'm most interested in seeing. But besides that, I'm not worried about the accuracy. I'm not worried about the touch. He throws a very good catchable football, throws a beautiful deep ball, and I know he's going to be able to, absorb the playbook. So those are the things I'm looking at. One of the things that he's been working on with Kevin Stefanski, and I think those things are going to be really important. But the offensive line, Quinshon Judkins, and whether or not you're able to run the football and give him a running game. By the way, did not have much of a running game in Colorado. What could he be able to do if you did have a running game where you could do some of those things to protect him a little more? So I'm excited to see it. I think the offensive line will be improved this year because of the change in scheme and doing things like that.
Appreciate it. Got another super chat. She killing me in the chat, so I got to get it off. Maria S. $10 super chat again. She said, we are not going to sit back and allow folks to disrespect Shedeur. We are supporting the team because he is 12. No disrespect. We'll be tirade. We're not going to sit back and hush and shut up like that, he said. Okay. Thank you, Maria S. for the super chat. Got one more big dog. Let me see.
Right. Nor should you.
Got $10. Got a $9.99. If we ride for Shedeur, we ride for the Browns. Just treat grown right. That's just treat them right. Appreciate the super chat from Miss Phyllis Smith, and she is a member of Sports Talk with BWatts. But once again, Big Dog, I appreciate you, man. I hope we can do it again, man. Give us and let the people know where they can find you in your own words.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something. First of all, you talk about follow me. Make sure you give this man BWatts. Make sure you go follow me. If you catching this on the barbershop, if you catching this anywhere, make sure you go out and follow this man. I see the ball main pain. I see it. I like it. I like the ball main right there. I see he cooking. Got the polo hat on. He not playing around. I like that. Man, play with us today. He didn't play with us today.
I had the best coming on. I got to try to get the best, Big Dog.
I got to get mine. I got to go tell my they caught me slipping. I didn't know what type of game they was on.
Let me ask you a question. Before you go. Big Dog, let me ask you a question. Now, the barbershop, how you come up with the barbershop? You own a barbershop? What? No, you just barbershop talk?
Nah. So when I came up, man, my uncles owned a barbershop, right? And I remember they used to own the biggest. I'm from Canton, Ohio, Hall of Fame city. So I remember when I used to grow up, they built a barbershop from the ground up. And I was like, man, that was the craziest thing in the world. They used to all be like, all of them used to wear these like African print type shirts. Everybody was like in lockstep. They used to play the music, like, you know what I'm saying? They had R&B, they had donor. I thought it was the craziest thing in the world. And there would be lines out the back door of people just waiting. You had to get there like 4 a.m. to get a haircut, man. And it was the biggest shop. And I just remember when I was growing up, the sports talk conversations was just so wild. And I used to be like, man, there will be people that would be coming from like Cincinnati that wouldn't live in the area no more, that just come up and pull up and just have conversations and debates. And it'd be going crazy in there. And I remember to myself, I said, man, this is what sports is, bro. Like that barbershop feeling is wild because it didn't, at that point, if they let you talk, I was like 13. But I was like, man, I got to take on something. And I didn't want to really just throw it out there. But I was like, I'm going to just jump out there and throw it. And to my surprise, I started on the take. And I don't even remember how I was talking about it, but I threw my take out there. And halfway through this take, it's been about 30 minutes and they were still listening. I said, they ain't even interrupt. That was crazy. And from then, I was like, man, I want a conversation in the barbershop because that's where you learned everything. You learned, I was sitting there, you had the Jet magazine sitting right there. I was over there, you was talking about sports, you would talk about, you know, what's going on in the streets, what's going on in business, all these different things. And so when I came up with my platform, the barbershop I did on the radio, is I told them I'm not cutting nobody off. Look, if you want to come up here and you can disagree with me all day, we just got to keep it. We got to keep it respectful.
Respectful.
You know what I'm saying? We can keep it respectful, even if we on the opposite ends of the political spectrum. But what I want you to be doing, I want you to have a safe haven for people to come in and express their thoughts, because those are where you can truly make some headway. Because if I tell you, we ain't here, we only gonna talk about black topics right here. We only gonna talk about this, that, and the third. Then it's not somebody somewhere else. It's not gonna be able to get that conversation. If you listening to me in Iowa, that conversation in this barbershop right here, you're not getting that nowhere else. You getting the real. So for me, that's what the barbershop is. And a lot of people don't understand. I say, when you come to the barbershop, if you know, you know. Like, it is what it is. Like, that it ain't for everybody. It ain't. It's for those that is willing to be challenged. It's for those who got an opinion, and for those that are willing to listen to something that mix into one. I talk about sports, music, and culture. And you can't have none of those without, if you take one of them out, one of them none of it makes sense. And so when people say just stick to sports or just talk sports, I said it's impossible. What are you talking about? Culture and sports and culture and economics and culture and politics is one and the same. What are you talking about? And so my job, because they tell you you ain't supposed to do that type of stuff. I do it on that platform, and because it's mine, I could do what I want to on it, and you can't come censor and say what I want to. If you know, you want to check it out, great. If not, no hard facts. You can go listen to the rest of the watered down stuff.
Yeah. That's my dog right here. They talking about getting co-prime. I say, I don't mind getting co-prime, but boy, I got G money. Got another super chat there for you. Yeah, shout out to Coach Prime, man. RC said, great show, guys. $5 super chat to you, big dog. And let's see, I think I seen one more somewhere. Did I miss it? Did I get it? I think I got it. But once again, man, I appreciate you, man. Once again, folks, if y'all don't mind, it's right there. The Barbershop. G Bush
91 on Twitter. You hit me up at G Bush 91 on Twitter. Barbershop Saturdays. I got the barbershop jumping. Saturday is 9 to 11. You can go watch that. Usually I have it simulcastly on Facebook. I got it simulcasting. Search Garrett Bush on Facebook. I'm there. Simulcasting on Barbershop and UCSS. I'm on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays when the season starts and we get into full swing. I'm full time. This is just my off season. So I'm full time coming up on that. Also, the Browns Unlocked. I'm on the Bleacher Report. I do Browns Unlocked every single Wednesday. As a matter of fact, if I get off here, I'm going to go do Browns Unlocked. That's on the Bleacher Report app. You can check that out. I do Ultimate Browns. Ultimate Browns. That's Tuesdays at 5 p.m. You can check that out. And then, of course, I got a bunch of other different stuff coming up. And I haven't even announced this, but I'm going to just throw it out there. You know, I got me and my brothers, I got a game show coming out. I got a game show where they're like, dang, you been doing all this? I got a game show coming out called Top 5. And it's it's the Top 5 show, and it's like trivia and all kind of good stuff. But we've been working on that for a long time, and we actually finished shooting. We just in the editing process. So I'll let you guys know about that more when it comes. But we doing a lot of different stuff, and I appreciate you over here having me. Love to talk to y'all and loving to be a person that's trying to bridge a gap and trying to introduce the Cleveland Browns community to some new family members.
That's all right. That's all right. Hey, y'all watching Sports Talk with G Bush. Once again, my brother, I appreciate you. You're doing your thing. May God continue to bless you as well as your entire family, spiritual, educational, and financial, that you may be the person and that your family may be the family that God wants to be. Once again, thank you for joining me. Man, keep doing your thing, and I'll keep in touch with you, all right?
Appreciate you.
Y'all have a good night. I'll see y'all at 8.